Okay, good morning everyone. So we're gonna continue to the last lesson of this chapter, which is evaluating trigonometric limits, yeah. So we're gonna go to chapter 2, lesson ABET 2, evaluating trigonometric limits. So remember when we wanna evaluate limits, then actually what we need to do is we submit the value of the x that is approaching number first to the expression, to the function, and then we see whether the result is in determinate form or not, right? And there are three types. If let's review first in the determinate form. There are three types of indeterminate forms, yeah. The one is 0 over 0, and then we have infinity over infinity, and then last we have infinity minus infinity. So if after you substitute the value of x with the approaching number to the function and the result is one of these three, then you need to simplify first, or you need to change the function first, yeah. All right, so now yesterday we discussed about evaluating algebraic limits, yeah, and usually you just need to factor or you need to multiply with its conjugate, yeah, if there is a square root appear in the function. Now, if there is a trigonometric function in your limit, then what you need to do is actually what you need to solve that is a formula and the fact that the value of limit of sine x over x as x approaching 0 is equal to 1. Yeah. So now let me prove to you, is it true that the limit of sine x over x when x approaching 0 is equal to 1 or not? Yeah. So to prove it, then I need to draw this UV coordinate system. Yeah, I hope you still remember UV coordinate system and how is it different with the XY coordinate system. Yeah. And then I will draw a quarter circle that the radius is 1. Yeah, so I'll draw it. Like this. Let's say that this is a semicircle. Yeah? Semicircle. Okay. And then I'll draw a line array where the angle is, let's say, x radian. Yeah. Okay. Now to prove this formula, I'm gonna need this graph, I'm gonna need this picture, and I'm gonna create three shapes from it. Yeah. The first shape is a triangle that is made by the radius like this. Yeah, the orange triangle. And then the second shape is the sector of a circle. It's a part of a circle like this. Yeah. And then the third one is a triangle, a right triangle that is made by the endpoint of the u axis, yeah, the u intercept, yeah. Okay. Now then, if we have these three shapes, then no matter how big or how small the measurement of x, then as long as the x is still in between 0 and 90 degrees, yeah, of course, then no matter the measurement, the value of x, then the fact of the area of the orange will be the smallest, right? And then the area of the orange will be less than the area of the green one. The area of the green one, yeah. And then of course the area of the green one will be less or equal to the area of the blue one. Yeah. So the green one, the sector of circle will be always in the middle. Yeah. The orange one will be the smallest, and the blue one will be the largest. Okay. Now let's determine the area first. The area of the orange one will be area is a triangle which is half times base times height, right? So let's say that this is the base one and this is the height one. So if we use a trigonometric function, we know that the hypotenuse is 1, right? So because we know the hypotenuse, so the trigonometric function that we are going to use is sine x, which is equals to h1 over 1, which is equals to h1, and cosine x, which is equals to b1 over 1, b1. Yeah, so the area of the orange one is actually equal to half times sine x times cosine x. Yeah, of course, but it's fine. Okay. And then how about the area of the green one? So the green area, the green shapes is actually a part of a circle, right? So it's a part of a circle. So the full area of a circle is pi r square, right? Which the radius is 1. So because this is only a part of it, so we need to make it in a ratio. And the ratio is actually the x, the sector, the angle, divided by 2 pi, which is for a full circle, yeah. So if we cancel this, then the result will be half x. Okay. And then the area of the blue one, now the area of the blue one is also half times base 2 times height 2. So let's say that this is height 2. We know that the base 2 is equal to 1. The height, now in this time we're gonna use tangent, yeah. Tangent x is equal to h2 over 1, yeah. h2. So this is equals to tangent x. So we get the area of the orange one, we get the area of the green one, and we get area of the blue one. Okay, and let's plug it in into the inequality. So it says that the area of the orange one, which is half sine x cosine x, is greater or equal to the area of the green one, which is half x, greater or equal to the area of the blue one, which is tangent x, half tangent x, yeah. And then we multiply by 2 all sides, so we cancel. So the result will be, and then we divide by sine x all sides, yeah. So this will be cancelled, become cosine x, x over sine x, and tangent is actually equal to sine x over cosine x, right? So if we divide tangent x with sine x, of course the result will be 1 over cosine x, yeah. And then we reverse it, we make it reciprocal, yeah. Let's say that if you have 2 is less or equal than 3, less than equal than 4, of course if you reciprocal it, the reciprocal, then the sign will change the direction, right? And this will be always true in any case, yeah. So if I change it, then I'm gonna have 1 over cos x is greater or equal to sine x over x greater or equal to cosine x, yeah. And I plug in into the limit, all of them, limit x approaching 0 of 1 over cos x greater or equal to the limit as x approaching 0 of sine x over x limit as x approaching 0 of cosine x, yeah. And then we know that the cosine of 0, if we plug it in, then cosine 0 is equal to 1, right? So 1 over 1 is 1, greater or equal to the limit as x approaching 0 of sine x over x, and on the right side also cos 0 is equal to 1. Now this fact is actually making you to be able to conclude that the limit of x approaching 0 of sine x over x is equal to 1. Why? Because there is no other possibility that is feasible for the value of limit of sine x over x approaching 0. other than 1. Why? Because it must be less than 1, it must be greater than 1, and it must be less than 1 with equal to, yeah. So of course there is no other value than 1 for the value in between, right? The only solution will be this is equal to 1. Yeah, so that's why we can conclude, and it is proven, that the limit of sine x over x as x approaching 0 is equal to 1. Okay, so how about limit of x approaching 0 of cos x over x? Yeah, then what's the value of this? Then actually, if this is the case, well, this is actually not indeterminate form, right? So you can just substitute cosine 0 over 0, which is 1 over 0, which is infinity. Yeah. How about tangent? How about tangent? Tangent x over x. Well, this is also indeterminate form because tangent 0 is 0, 0 over 0. Yeah. So if this is the case, then actually we can change it into sine x over cosine x divided by 0, yeah. So this will be equal to, so we can separate the limit into sine x over x, so this is supposed to be approaching 0, multiply by the limit as x approaching 0 of 1 over cosine x, yeah. And of course this will be 1, and this will be 1, because cos 0 is 1, so 1 over 1 is 1, so it's equal to 1. So actually the limit of tangent x over x as x approaching 0 is also 1. Okay, so we get 3 formula here. We get this one, we get this one, and we get this one, yeah. And of course it's also applicable for the reverse of it, yeah, for the reciprocal of it. What I'm saying is, like, of course the sine x as x approaching 0 is of course equals to 1 also, and the limit of x approaching 0 of x over cosine x in this case is equal to 0, and the limit as x approaching 0 of x over tangent x will be equal to 1. So this is the basic what you need to know to solve or to evaluate a trigonometric limit, yeah. I hope you understand. Now it's also important for you to remember, to recall the trigonometric formula, yeah, the trigonometric formula. And actually it is in your calculus book. There is a appendix there in your calculus book, page 600. Let me check. Page 659. Page 659, appendix A. Summary of properties of trigonometric functions, yeah. So you're gonna need this formula to evaluate the limit of trigonometric function, yeah. And usually the one that is used the most is a double argument, and also product to sum properties. So it means in your book number 7 and also number 9, yeah, product to sum and double argument, and maybe also sum to product. Well, mostly, yeah, I don't say that this is the only two that is needed, but mostly. Okay, so let's look at the example on the problem set that I shared with you. Number 24, yeah, the third page, number 24. Number 24, the problem is limit as x approaching 0 of x squared minus 4x divided by sine x. Okay, the result is 0 over 0, yeah, in the determinate form. So if this is the problem, then you need to factor first. then you need to remove this sign x, right? You need to remove this sign x, right? And you need the x on your numerator if that's the case. And fortunately, we can factor out the x here, right? Sin x. Yeah. So this will be equal to 1. So you just need to substitute 0 to the x here. So it's equal to 1 times -4, which is -4. Yeah. So that's the first example of a trigonometric limit. Yeah. Let's see another example. Let's see example 27. Let's see number 27. Yeah, I'll give you 27 as the second example. Okay, number 27, I have limit as x approaching 2, -2, of 1 plus 1 minus cosine x plus 2 over x squared plus 4x plus 4. Okay. Alright, so is this indeterminate form? Yes, it is indeterminate form because 1 minus cosine 0 is 0, and then the denominator is also 0, yeah? So what we need to do is actually to change this with a double argument, yeah? Double argument. According to the formula, it says that 1 minus cos x is actually equal to 2 sine square half x, right? If you check number 7, cos 2x, well, it comes from cos 2x, yeah, it comes from cos 2x. Let me, cos 2x is equal to 1 minus 2 sine square x, yeah, so we use the sine 1, and then if we change it, then it will be 2 sine square x is equal to 1 minus cos 2x, yeah, and then we divide by 2 both sides. Sine square x is equal to, no need to divide by 2, and then we make the argument half of it. We make the argument half of the value, yeah. So if this is half x, then of course this is 1 cos 2 times half x, yeah. We change the x into half x. So this is what we get. This is what we get. Okay. So then I can continue into x approaching -2 of, then this will be 2 sine square of half x plus 2, yeah, x plus 2, and then this is x plus 2, x plus 2. Okay, now let me separate the limit, yeah, let's separate the limit lah. So 2 times limit as x approaching -2 of sine half x plus 2 over x plus 2, yeah, times, and this is being squared, yeah, let's just square it like this because it's the same. Okay, now look that the argument of the sine x and the denominator is almost similar, right? But the thing is, the argument is half of the denominator. If we want to use this formula, yeah, if we want to use this formula, then actually the argument must be equal to the denominator, x and x. Yeah. So if that's the case, then actually we have x minus 2, x plus 2 already, and x plus 2, but this is half. So what we need to do is to make the half on the denominator, yeah. How do we make the half? Then we multiply by half over half both numerator and denominator. Okay, so the result will be 2 times limit of x approaching -2 of sine half x plus 2 over half x plus 2, yeah, square, and then there is half this being square is times 1 over 4. Yeah, I hope you understand. So of course then the result of this one is 1, so it's equal to 2 times 1 times 1 over 4, which is equals half. Yeah, so that's another way how you can solve a trigonometric limits. Yeah, I hope you understand for today's lesson. So yeah, I'm gonna give you practice for you to master this material. Okay, thank you.